Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. A supposedly 7th tier combat power could be boosted directly to a 10th tier combat power with an automaton type treasure. This was the charming aspect of the automaton type, something which researching and creating any other secret techniques could never be able to achieve. Of course, everyone was using automaton-type treasures, and so, those who were originally much stronger would naturally be able to unleash an even stronger combat power. Given the strength of this new recruit, Milky Way, so long as he is given enough time, he will be able to earn military credits at any rate and in any amount he pleases, the captain said to himself silently. He will also be able to continue improving himself. It seems like upon returning to the army this time, I will have to cozy up to this new recruit, Milky Way. By the next reincarnation level mission, if I am still unable to become a true god, I'm afraid the hope of accomplishing a reincarnation level mission will fall on this new recruit, Milky Way. The captain understood this quite well. For now, he could depend on some external means to try to kill this new recruit, Milky Way. Yet, if ample time were given, this new recruit, Milky Way, would certainly surpass him. Since he could not defeat Luo Feng, the smarter thing to do was to make friends with him. That Law Master is simply too strong. None of the true gods from our entire Xianyu mountain has such a terrifying ability of close-range dodging like him. The 5 true gods who had progressively tried to obstruct Luo Feng's way before were all greatly shocked, especially the 3 true gods who had just started to create obstructions. Now, they felt all the more lost. Even with the 3 of them working together, this Law Master had been able to escape their siege with great ease. It was as though he was poking fun at them. That Law Master will definitely become a true god. And he will be a top-tiered, most terrifying true god. If he further relies on an automaton-type treasure, I'm afraid he is going to be nothing less than an invincible true god of void space. Yes. It is rare for a true god to be evenly matched with a true god of void space. And if one wants to achieve that, just like that Law Master earlier on, it is indeed possible to accomplish such a feat. The 5 true gods agreed unanimously. The further one progressed upward, the weaker an automaton-type treasure became. When Law Masters relied on the power of automaton-type treasures, many of them could become equal in force with true gods. On the other hand, throughout the entire world of Jin, it was rare for a true god to be evenly matched with a true god of void space with the reliance on automaton-type treasures. But they all felt that if it were that Law Master earlier on, so long as he became a true god, he would be able to achieve this. In the sky high above Nine Smoke Marsh, bouts of powerful ripples were being transmitted over. This was due to the overpowering presence of 6 true gods of void space from Nine Smoke Marsh and Xianyu Mountain suspended in midair without engaging in any crossfire. 9 Smoke, the 3 of us combined are, unbelievably, still not a match for you. How many times has it been? The 3 true gods of void spaces from Xianyu Mountain lamented. Chu Wan, 9 Smoke had a devilish body that resembled an octopus and 9 human faces. He also had a beautiful voice. How very impressive you all are. Only 3 of you, yet I cannot break through your combination law. If all 4 true gods of void spaces from your Xianyu Mountain come here, I suppose. 6 true gods of void space witnessed everything that was occurring beneath their feet at once. What impressive close combat dodging. Impressive. Even true gods of void space could not hold back their praises. With the blade positioned as the cutting tip and its own body as the handle of the blade, he had become one with his blade to form a battle blade. When he moves about, the blade becomes sharper and more powerful. At times, it will collide and borrow the strength of its enemy. And other times, while the enemy tries hard to resist, it would already be drifting off afar. 9 Smoke could not help marveling the moment he gained an understanding of what he had just witnessed. What an ingenious plan to be able to create such a close combat technique. With the blade positioned as the cutting tip, and its own body as the handle of the blade. The other true gods of void space were instantly more enlightened. These true gods of void space were all aware that their close combat dodging techniques were much more impressive than that Law Master. But they had the advantage of a stronger foundation, a stronger comprehension, and a better grasp over the void space. In terms of how subtle and marvelous these close combat techniques were, and the various incredible aspects of it, they all knew that when they were still law masters themselves, they were a far cry from this new recruit. This new recruit must be someone the East Army intends to focus on cultivating. Yes. I think he might already be placed on the name list. The true gods of void spaces were all discussing while trying to reach a verdict. Nine Smoke responded, "This is certainly one extraordinary genius, a rare sight in our world of Jinn. If given enough time, in the future, it is highly possible that he will be sealed with a title to become a titled great being." A titled great being? The other true gods of void spaces were amazed. Sealed with a title? Even for these 6 true gods of void space, none had been sealed with a title before. To be sealed with the name of a Jinn was the dream of countless true gods of void space, something all of them greatly desired. Just like true gods, it was certainly possible for true gods to be sealed with a title, but the requirements were much more intense, and that intensity could reach such an extent that was almost unbelievable. The weaker a true god was, the more stringent the requirements of being sealed with a title were. If one accomplished the level of a general within the East Army, then right away, he would be sealed with a title. Far in the distance, amidst the grassy patches of the marsh, Luo Feng remained well hidden. Having seized a true god corpse of Nine Smoke Marsh, at least I have accomplished this disaster-level mission. Luo Feng revealed a trace of a smile. His greatest takeaway, though, was not that true god corpse, but rather, when I was traversing the true god level battlefield earlier, I collected samples of blood, scales, hairs, and some other body components from a total of 212 true gods, all of which I gathered from the marsh or wild grassy patches that the true gods fought on. With my godly power, I have hopes of becoming a true god, but the previous samples of life genes of true gods were too few to be useful. This time around, I have collected more than enough. After this era has ended, I can either choose to enter or leave the world of Jinn. By that time, I will let my new remote ocean body take these samples of blood, scales, and hair. Luo Feng was very pleased with this thought as he continued to observe the true god level battlefield from afar. Watching the happenings on the true god level battlefield, there was a possibility that an opportunity might arise. Having encountered the stealing of true god corpses by the 2 law masters, the captain and the new recruit, Milky Way, and the 10,000+ true gods from the 2 parties engaged in crossfire within Purple Vine Marsh were in a rage. They paid no heed the first time a true god corpse was stolen by the captain, but the second time a true god corpse was stolen by a new recruit, this time by Milky Way, they were extremely puzzled. Yet no matter how puzzled they were, seizing a true god corpse was an act of provocation toward the living true gods. Catch them both. Catch them, or both us, Nine Smoke Marsh, and you, Shenyu Mountain, will be put to shame. Next time. Just wait until the next time they appear. We will catch hold of them. These true gods were all highly vigilant. When both camps were fighting one another, occasionally, there would be one being annihilated and thus falling right within the marsh. The other true gods, whether intentionally or accidentally, would not deviate too far from this region. Most thoroughly, they were all detecting with their godly powers. The moment there were signs of ripples, they would speedily surround the entire region. However, Luo Feng and the captain were both highly intelligent. Each of them had one true god great being corpse from the Nine Smoke Marsh, so they were in no hurry. But the crossfire between Shenyu Mountain and Nine Smoke Marsh, 2 powerful groups, was long and tedious. There were times where both parties confronted one another and fought like crazy. There were times where they fought in battles where one party gave chase as the other escaped as if they were playing cat and mouse. The longer this crazy battle dragged on, the more intense the training and honing of skills for these law masters became. Likewise, the longer the fighting persisted, the more frequent the annihilation of true gods became. And just like that, the true gods from both groups of top powers started to feel the rage. On top of all that, Luo Feng and the captain remained obscured from view. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Half a month. 1 month. Just like the military mission of a law master, demanding that they obtain a true god corpse is simply unrealistic. I suppose those 2 law masters have accomplished their missions and left. Great beings from the two groups of top powers were gradually losing interest in the true god corpses they had lost. We, two different groups of power, even if we fought against one another, or even if we see no need to safeguard our true god corpses, there is no reason we should let them take any more corpses away again. We shall each send out one true god to collect the corpses belonging to us, and during the collection, both sides shall not attack one another. What do you think of my proposal? A voice was rapidly transmitted in response. All right, let's do that. Nine Smoke Marsh and Shen Yu Mountain both designated a true god to be sent out to collect the corpses belonging to their deceased true gods. A tribal true god, fully covered in red, transformed into a streak of flowing light and set out to collect the numerous tribal true gods' corpses. At that moment, not a single beast true god from Nine Smoke Marsh attacked him. At the same time, an 8-hooved beast true god with a long neck also flew out to collect the beast true god's corpses. After close to 3 months of fighting, there were over 20 true god corpses, and this beast true god collected them all in a single breath. No. Leave some behind. The captain and his warriors watched with blazing eyes. They were all at the peak of anxiety. Captain, Captain. The other warriors were panicking. They had waited for close to 3 months. Previously, they had seen those many true god corpses lying around. How could they not have been tempted by the sight? But their captain had given strict orders, and so, no one made a move. Now, all the true god corpses had been taken away. Beneath his gigantic, curved horns, the captain's grey eyes swept over the warriors around him as he barked his orders. You may go on your own if you want to. They were purposely baiting us. Now, they are paying no need to us at all, retrieving all the corpses. Could it be that you all are thinking of killing a true god? To kill a true god, even with our joint efforts, would take an extremely long time. Before we could hope to succeed, we would most likely be surrounded by thousands of true gods. The warriors were all anxious and angry, but they were also at a loss as to what they should do. Wait for the right opportunity, the captain shouted. After all, we have an entire era. Elsewhere, Luo Feng kept a close watch over every move made by that scaly, long-necked, and 8-hooved beast true god. He was paying such close attention to its every move because this beast true god had just collected 26 true god corpses in one go. A single true god corpse is worth 10,000 military credits, Luo Feng said to himself. 26 true god corpses will be worth 260,000 military credits. Luo Feng felt his heart stirring with excitement as he watched the beast true god. This beast true god was sent here to collect the corpses because its status is not high enough. Judging by its performance during the melee earlier on, its power is quite ordinary. It does not even seem to own a true god level armor. No true god level armor, and power that was weaker than a true god. Luo Feng was so tempted. He had spent 8 million eras of painstaking cultivation to attain his current power and strength, based on his own judgment. To kill this weaker beast true god, which did not own a true god level armor, would be a piece of cake. But he needed to spend some time working something out, but even this short length of time would be more than enough for the true gods. They could rapidly surround him in no time. If he were to rely on his close combat dodging technique, he would still be able to escape from a siege by a few true gods. But if the number was increased to a few dozen true gods, or even 100 true gods, Luo Feng could only depend on the boat of Mausoleum to make his escape. If there were more than 100 true gods, perhaps even the boat of Mausoleum would not be able to make an escape. Wait. I have to wait for the right opportunity. Luo Feng's eyes were locked on that 8-hooved beast true god. Previously, when they were collecting corpses, no one had made any move to attack it. But when the collection of corpses ended, it would still re-enter the battlefield and continue to fight as it normally did. Its power was weaker, and based on what Luo Feng had observed, he was gradually able to judge the magnitude of decline of the power of that beast true god. An additional decline of 20% of its power, and then its body will be weak enough. Given the strength of my power now, if I were to release a full-force outburst, I could definitely kill it in no time. Luo Feng locked his eyes on that 8-hooved beast true god as he waited for the right time to make his move. Luo Feng and the team of the captain were waiting for an opportunity outside the true god level battlefield. The craziest battle in Nine Smoke Marsh was the battle among those law masters. It was an insane war, during which many weak law masters died. There were tens of millions of law masters combined from Shenyu Mountain and Nine Smoke Marsh. 1/3 of them had already died. It was a matter of training and screening. Lots of law masters who survived this would quickly become true gods. That idiot, Milky Way. He wants to get a body of a true god. Does he really think it's that easy? Wu, his tail slashed, and he immediately moved in the vast battlefield of Nine Smoke Marsh. Sometimes, he raced toward the tribal warriors from Shenyu Mountain, roaring, "Kill! Kill those bastards from Shenyu Mountain!" Some strange beasts beside him also roared and charged at the tribal warriors. Nine Smoke Marsh was enormous, and there were many law masters. There might have been law masters being born and old masters dying during the battle. Knowing 80% of the law masters was helpful. They saw that Wu, he was a strange beast, and they were trying to kill the tribal warriors from Shenyu Mountain. They assumed that he was just a comrade they didn't know. Kill, kill. Wu, he was going insane with killing. Once a strange beast died, he immediately took the fallen weapons and armors. I've only gained 2,000 military points in 3 months. Wu, he felt anxious. The battlefield was enormous. He could only take weapons and armors. Plus, he needed to be extra careful. After all, the battlefield was chaotic, and if he didn't pay enough attention, he might get killed. At the other end of the battlefield of Nine Smoke Marsh. Be careful, everyone. We're very powerful law masters, yet it's a war among over 10 million law masters. Chu Luo and his friend died because they weren't careful enough. We need have lots of military credits to get, but we have to be extra careful. Soldiers led by Fa were also on the battlefield. They were all tribal warriors, so they pretended to come from Shenyu Mountain. Yes. I understand. We still have a long way to go. All the soldiers were anxious. But that was only on the surface. Deep down, all those soldiers understood that the more their teammates died, the more weapons and armor they could gain for themselves. All of them combined had barely over 10,000 weapons and pieces of armor. That was at least enough to get over 10,000 military credits so that at least one soldier could survive the task. Teammates dying was actually a good thing to them. However, nobody was personally willing to die. Soldiers led by Fa and Yu Luo and Wu he acting by himself were all trying to get the weapons and armors from Nine Smoke Marsh. And of course, they could sneak in some weapons and armors from the great beings from Shenyu Mountain as long as the military didn't detect anything suspicious. Nine Smoke Marsh was beyond huge. They couldn't get that many weapons and armors. It was destined that most of them would either die on the battlefield or be executed based on military rules. Yet they still didn't go to the battlefield of true gods. On the periphery of the battlefield of true gods, the war had been lasting for almost 4 months. Luo Feng was silently waiting for an opportunity. However, the soldiers led by the captain were in a panic. A skinny soldier in dark golden armor transmitted his furious voice. "Captain, you're always such a chicken. We won't have such an opportunity to reap the military credits after the war. Without military credits, we can only run away. However, if the military wants us dead, we will only survive for a short while. We have to earn military credits to survive." "That's right, Captain. We need to do something. We want to live. We want military credit." Several soldiers were getting frantic, while the other soldiers also looked at the captain nervously. The cold eyes under the team captain's huge horn glanced around at his teammates. He knew that those soldiers were all anxious. He had a true god body, so he didn't need to worry about survival, yet the soldiers under him couldn't be so at ease. "It would be suicide for you go to the battlefield of true gods," the captain said coldly. "We know. That is why we're not going there. However, countless law masters are fighting each other right now, and they're all potential military credit. As long as we have enough time and get lots of weapons and armors, we can totally earn enough military credits. We'll have a better chance of surviving the battlefield of law masters." "That's right, Captain. Let's go to the battlefield of law masters." Everyone looked to the captain. The captain sneered. "Gather weapons and armors for 10,000 military credits." How long do you think it'll take? If you really want to go, just go. I won't stop you. However, I'll send you a message through the communication token at a crucial moment. Tell me your coordinates, and you must come. Otherwise. Yes, Captain. We understand, Captain. If Captain summons us, we'll be there as soon as possible. Captain, we'll be going to the battlefield now. We'll follow your order, Captain. All the soldiers answered, then left secretly. After a short while, the soldiers under the captain had all left. The captain shook his head and sneered. It seems they're all panicking under the threat of death. The captain looked down on those soldiers from the bottom of his heart. However, they were, after all, soldiers from Python River Army. If they cooperated, they could exert tremendous power. If he could lead them well, they could achieve some tasks easily. He wouldn't give up on them unless he had to. Luo Feng and the team captain were standing at different spots on the periphery of the battlefield of true gods. They were prepared to show their true self at any time. Howl. The strange beast true god with 8 claws and a long neck had his soul eye gleaming. His power had already tumbled. True gods like him who didn't have true god armor were inferior to those true gods who had joined the military. Minor issues like cleaning the battlefield, patrolling, and taking the bodies of their own side all fell on those true gods. They knew that it was because they weren't powerful enough, so they would try to train themselves. However, in a fight like this, they would choose to evade the attacks once they felt that their power had tumbled. Damn it. Once a true god dies, the weapons and armor will fall from his body, and they'll be seized by the enemy who kills him. I haven't got anything yet. True god level armor and weapons were precious. However, those weapons and armors that were inferior were very common. Most law masters had them. In World of Jinn, even 1,000 pinnacle true treasures couldn't equal one supreme true treasure. I must get a true god armor. I have to. The 8-hooved strange beast true god kept wandering. He had been avoiding fights and looking for an opportunity. If a true god who had a true god armor died, he would try everything in his power to seize it. However, it was very difficult for true gods at that level to die, and even if they died, he wouldn't have much of a chance to seize it. Otherwise, he would have had a true god armor already. They were wandering at different areas in the battlefield of true gods. If there aren't any other true gods around, the captain said, anxious, I can kill that 8-hooved strange beast if I use my machine-type valuable to fight him. But it's the battlefield of true gods. He has collected over 30 bodies of true gods. On the other side, Luo Feng appeared tranquil as he stared at the strange beast true god with 8 claws. He kept deducting the coordinates. His power has tumbled, he said to himself. And he doesn't have a supreme true treasure armor to protect his body. I can guarantee that I can kill him in no time. Luo Feng confirmed the strange beast true god's position. As it continued wandering, Luo Feng started to act as well. He didn't move quickly, as he didn't want his ripples to be detected by godly power. He kept approaching the battlefield of true gods. He moved very slowly and was patient. It took him more than 3 days to approach the strange beast, and he entered the battlefield of true gods. Wait, Luo Feng told himself. Wait. I'll wait for the right moment. Luo Feng kept holding back his power. For the past 3 days, and now, at this moment, he was growing more and more aggressive. He forgot all other thoughts and focused only on one goal, to kill that 8-hooved strange beast true god as soon as possible. This was his only goal. His power exploded. Luo Feng had a strong urge to pull out his blade. Why could his power only make a breakthrough in life-and-death battles? When it came to life-and-death battles, his natural instinct would concentrate all his thoughts, invoking great potential. It was definitely dangerous. How crazy was the idea of killing a true god on a battlefield of 10,000 true gods? It was insane, yet that was why Luo Feng grew even more excited. An opportunity. An opportunity. An opportunity. Luo Feng watched the 8-hooved strange beast true god coming from afar. At the moment, the strange beast was proceeding carefully. He clearly didn't want to fight the powerful true gods from Xianyu Mountain. He could barely fight those weak tribal true gods. Slowly, he drew nearer to Luo Feng's location. Luo Feng's eyes suddenly gleamed. He became livid. This is the moment. His speed accelerated, and his godly power started to burn relentlessly. The first volume of Duan Mie. He further burnt his godly power. The second volume of Duan Mie. This was the second largest gain he had made in the past 8 million eras, finishing the second volume of Duan Mie. What? The strange beast true god, who had been proceeding so carefully, turned his long head around. His single eye looked back in shock. A gigantic, blurry blade shadow raced toward him with ferocious force. It's him. The 8-hooved beast true god recognized him right away. This great being that was transformed into a gigantic, blurry blade figure was crushing and rolling its way over. This was the Law Master who had stolen a true god corpse earlier on. He's just a Law Master. No matter how impressive his close combat dodging technique is, his law comprehension foundation is as superficial. From what we can see, the battle techniques that he can comprehend will not surpass what is expected of him. The 8-hooved beast true god was brimming with self-confidence. Previously, he had leaped in shock, yet the moment he determined that it was merely a Law Master he was dealing with, he no longer held on to any trace of worry. His line of thinking was not wrong. The foundation determined the technique. A universe master, being able to create a secret technique that reached the 6th tier as the top level was already adequate enough to be regarded as incredible. Before Luo Feng, within Universe Ocean, there was no such precedence. Even Luo Feng had to rely on help from the Space of Inheritance to be able to create a secret technique that reached the 6th tier as the top level. 7th tier as the top. Generations of Duandong River had been so great and powerful, yet only slightly more than half managed to create secret techniques at this level. As for the 8th tier of the generations of Duandong River, only 2 had managed to accomplish this level. But for true gods, even an ordinary true god, being able to create secret techniques at the 7th tier as the top to the 8th tier was nothing extraordinary. As for some super true gods, the 9th tier or even the 10th tier were achievable. This was the difference in foundation. The higher one's foundation was, the more at ease one would be when it came to comprehension. This 8-hooved beast true god was a true god to begin with. The secret technique he executed would naturally be at a given standard. He must be quite a greedy one to think of attacking me. He must be eyeing the great number of true god corpses I have collected. The 8-hooved beast god was looking forward to the outcome of their fight. Ha ha ha. A young chap who is a Law Master and is quite impressive. He must be one of the top-tiered elites in the army and must have been bestowed with a true god armor. I would never have expected to obtain my true god armor from a Law Master. The 8-hooved beast true god did not attempt to escape. On the contrary, he charged forward like mad. The gigantic blade figure and the huge beast were howling as they both tore through the surrounding purple vines to charge directly at one another. Several true gods fighting on the faraway battlefield had already noticed that in the region on the edge of the battlefield, a blurry blade figure had appeared. They all recognized it the moment they laid eyes on it. It was none other than the extraordinary talent that had stolen the corpses away. It's that Law Master. It's that super genius. That Law Master had the guts to come here again. No matter how ingenious he was only a Law Master. That Law Master dared come again. No matter how gifted he is only a Law Master. Let's catch this talent. Kill him. Suddenly, there were true gods flying over. They were all aware that when the army trained and honed talents, true gods of void space were not allowed to intervene. But true gods were allowed to act, so even if talents were annihilated by true gods, they only had themselves to blame for not being capable enough. Asterisk 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 asterisk. For the group of true gods to fly here, they will need 29 seconds, Luo Feng confirmed right away. The true god level battlefield was boundless to begin with. The 8-hooved beast true god was wandering around the region by the edge of the battlefield while Luo Feng's position was in more of a remote area. Even if the ultimate speed limit in the world of Jin was very high, to rush over to where the beast true god was, he most certainly required 29 seconds. 29 seconds. Let's finish it out. Luo Feng's gaze was focused on the 8-hooved beast true god before him. Haha. He is one greedy Law Master to not consider his escape, said the eight-hooved strange beast. Given his ability to escape and dodge, I am definitely no match for its speed. But if he were to fight me up front, I can finish him off as quickly as possible. It will be my claim to fame. The eight-hooved beast true god was going crazy with excitement, and his single eye was flashing colors filled with murderous intentions. Two gigantic figures finally crossed paths. With a thunderous roar, the eight-hooved beast true god waved its front claw across the length of space it was in, then, bang! Blades met. Luo Feng was swift as a tornado, avoiding the attack in a flash. Dodging again, roared the eight-hooved beast true god in its heart. It lashed out a whipping blow with its incredibly fast tail, which seemed like a boneless, soft whip that was formed by connecting various knots. With a roar, it transformed into an arc that lashed out at Luo Feng. Yet, the moment Luo Feng, in the form of his blurry blade figure, touched the edge of the tail, he trampled on it and settled himself on the back of the eight-hooved beast true god. It may have seemed as if everything was occurring very slowly, but when the two crossed paths, Luo Feng was on the back of the eight-hooved beast god almost immediately. Luo Feng finally brandished his blood ghost blade. Kill. His blade rays were like water adrift with no fixed direction. In an instant, it sliced down at the long neck off the eight-hooved beast true god. However, the beast true god instantly twisted its head toward the back as it opened its blood-stained mouth, revealing fangs that immediately bit onto Luo Feng's blade. The blade ray that was originally like water ripples exploded in an instant, producing a terrifying penetrating force. This was the greatest blade technique Luo Feng had created, light of water and fire. The penetrating force of the precious blade embryo, blood ghost blade of the pulse of Duandong River, immediately caused the eight-hooved beast true god to cry out in shock and fear. Its single eye widened, filled with amazement and horror as it cried, "Impossible, impossible. After his godly power was set ablaze, how could it be stronger than mine? I am a true god, and he is only a law master." The beast true god was wrong. So wrong. Indeed, an eight-hooved beast true god's godly power was stronger than Luo Feng's godly power by one full level. However, it had never joined the army, so it did not know the unique secret technique of blazing godly power. And Luo Feng had merely executed the first volume of extermination, but it was more than enough to make up for the difference in godly power. The second volume of extermination was the reason why Luo Feng could surpass this true god before him. When it was about blazing godly power, Luo Feng was much more skilled. Luo Feng was more powerful in the close combat dodging techniques in the first place, so he was certainly much tougher and could easily dodge or ward off any attacks by the eight-hooved beast true god. Yet, on the other hand, in the face of Luo Feng's attacks, the eight-hooved beast true god could only attempt to bear the weight of it all with its brute strength. Kill. 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 Luo Feng was going mad. Sustaining the blazing level according to the second volume of extermination, his godly power was depleting like crazy. Even if no other true gods had been quickly approaching from afar, he would not have been able to continue fighting in this manner for long. Everything needed to be fast. 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 Luo Feng's entire soul seemed to have infused into the blood ghost blade he wielded. Light of water and fire. 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 Blade rays like water carried a formidable power, and this power seemed to be faintly on the rise. Under the ultimate limit, Luo Feng's comprehension of blade techniques was unexpectedly on the rise, and yet, at that very moment, he had not noticed it at all. All his focus was concentrated on the eight-hooved beast true god before him as he tried his best to kill it in the shortest time possible. No, the eight-hooved beast true god was stunned. Almost instantly, over 100 blade rays were raining down on it, hacking onto it successively, causing it to weaken at an insane rate. It was flustered. It was terrified. It longed to escape. No. The eight-hooved beast true god was no longer holding on to any traces of desire to kill Luo Feng. It didn't care how this law master could wield such strong combat powers, it only wanted to escape and survive. However, before Luo Feng's ominous close combat techniques, even simply escaping was too much to ask for. There was no escape. I'll kill. Luo Feng was beyond insanity as a blurry, gigantic blade figure appeared. His entire being seemed to have merged as one with Bloodghost Blade, and the blade rays were like ocean waves crashing down on the eight-hooved beast true god. With each passing second, hundreds and thousands of blade rays kept roaring away, annihilating everything in a frenzied manner. This was a storm that would annihilate everything. There was no escape. There was no way it could be stopped. No chance of gaining an advantage over it. Astonishment. Not only was the eight-hooved beast true god being knocked senseless, but even the several dozen true gods who had discovered Luo Feng and were now flying over were stunned. How is it possible? If he only had impressive skills in dodging, so be it. But how can it be that his attacks are also impossible? How can he be so powerful? His blade must be an automaton-type treasure. It must be. They were all in denial, unable to accept the fact that in a one-on-one confrontation, a true god could be defeated by a law master. They could only accept one explanation. This law master must have used an automaton-type treasure, and that blade was an automaton-type treasure. Through the central operation of the automaton machine within it, the blade was able to release an outburst of combat power that far surpassed what a law master was supposedly capable of. This must be the case. On the faraway true god-level battlefield, the captain, who had been silently lying low in ambush, was in great shock as he watched everything happening with wide eyes. Earlier on, when he saw Luo Feng charging out, he had shaken his head, albeit in a most discreet manner. He found this new recruit, Milky River, to be foolish and arrogant to attempt to belittle the power of a true god. After all, even a captain like himself, wielding an automaton-type treasure, might only have a small chance of killing that true god. But the time spent trying to do so would, in turn, cause him to be entrapped by the other true gods. He is going to die, for sure, the captain had said. At the time, he had been convicted. But right now, how could? The captain was flabbergasted. He was unable to fathom how a new recruit could be so powerful enough to suppress a true god. That was absolute suppression. Even if it was the most ordinary kind of true god, the outcome should not be far from the norm. It must be an automaton-type treasure. Before he joined the army, he already had an automaton-type treasure with him, his battle blade. That must be it. It must be. That blade must be the reason his power can soar by multiple levels. That is how he can completely suppress this beast true god. The brutal fighting was ongoing within the true god level battlefield. Over 1,000 true gods had noticed that, at the farthest region at the edge of the battlefield, there was another battle going on between an ordinary level, eight-hooved beast true god from their side and a mere law master. The fact, placed right before their very eyes, was that the law master was attacking with such fervor that the true god was left with no room for retaliation. That blade must be an automaton-type treasure. It must be. Almost every one of them was sure of this. Bloodghost Blade was a blade embryo, thus, it was extremely precious. However, it merely raised Luo Feng's attacks by a single level, not as what everyone else had thought to be as a couple of levels. Luo Feng was powerful because of his close combat techniques, his mastery of the first 2 volumes of Extermination, and his comprehension of light of water and fire. Streams of blade rays that resembled water ripples crashed into the eight-hooved beast true god like crazy. These blade rays were approaching a state of perfection. Under the influence of such endless blade rays, the eight-hooved beast true god was getting more and more helpless. It was no longer able to put up such a strong resistance. No. Suddenly, the eight-hooved beast true god felt a sensation arising within his chest. This time around, it might really have to face annihilation. I am, rightfully, a true god. The eight-hooved beast true god was roaring furiously in its mind. The endless blade rays enshrouded everything around them. The eight-hooved beast true god finally breathed its last breath as its life core disintegrated, and it was reduced to annihilation. Its armor and some other items speedily broke away from it, and Luo Feng quickly waved his arm to claim the armor. He also claimed the other items breaking apart from the annihilated true god. Luo Feng transformed into a streak of flowing light right away and escaped as far as he could. As for the area where the fighting took place, although earlier on, Most of the purple vines had snapped and fallen onto the surface of the marsh. There was no longer a single trace of them to be found. A true god was annihilated. The Law Master had won, and more than 30 beast true god corpses were all his to take. From the faraway true god level battlefield, a powerful beast true god with 3 sharp, golden horns, roared in rage, after him. Get the corpses of my brothers of 9 Smoke Marsh by any means. This video will end here.